to do this until we die.
Do what?
Don't put this on YouTube.
Oh, it's going on YouTube. Don't worry.
Until we die.
No.
Okay.
You can see this.
See the core of the cabbage?
Yeah.
My cousin said that if you cut it out, these cabbages will soften better. So you have to go around.
Well, you didn't even tell us what we're making.
Oh, we're making Polish Galabkis. We call them piggies. Not the kind of piggies with little hot dogs in them and rolls around them. That's not the Polish kind. We call them piggies, but they're Galabkis. And you wrap the meat in cabbage leaves. But if you're going to have cabbage leaves, you can't wrap them like this because the cabbage leaves break when you wrap. You have to soften the cabbage. The trick is you can't cook the cabbage. It just has to be steamed a little bit. It has to be hard enough to stay together but soft enough to roll. And that's what we're doing now. We're taking the core out. We're going to make these soft. Okay, take the core out.
While he's taking the core out, you want to tell us about where you learned to make piggies? Or how you learned?
All right. My mother was
A little
a
more?
little more, a little
Okay.
deeper.
See, this
My
knife is
mother
too wide.
Was first generation American. All my grandmothers and grandfathers, 2 were from Czechoslovakia and 2 were from Poland. So they did all the old country cooking. My mother learned from her mother. I learned from my mother. Now I'm second generation American, so all of this is more Americanized. This is more Americanized. This
Good.
isn't, you know, I forget stuff and, yeah, that's much better. I forget stuff and I've changed things, so this is a little watered down.
Piggies are
And now
short.
I'm teaching my granddaughter.
Piggies are short for pigs in the blanket. These are the blankets.
Okay. German granddad said, piggies are short for pigs in the blankets. And the cabbage is the blanket. Which is right. Yeah. And of course, meat on Easter was the big thing. Ham and piggies. Because all the 40 days of Lent, the Catholic families, they were all Catholic families, fasted. They didn't eat meat all week. They only ate meat on Sundays. But that's probably because it was during the Depression too, and they really didn't have the money. But anyway, they fasted for 40 days. They only eating meat on Sundays. So they had this big meat festival. We have kielbasa, and we have
What's kielbasa?
the sausage, smoked sausage. You can get that in any store. Anyway, and then they had the ham, and they had the piggies, and it was a big meat, cheese and eggs, big protein meat festival because all 40 days they were fasting. So that's the tradition part of it, and why we still have all this. Let's start by steaming our cabbage. To steam the cabbage, you don't want a whole pot of water. You want just maybe a quarter of a pot. Put the cabbage in. This one's cored so that it had all the around here. Make it really nice to pull them off. Put that in core side down. Lid on. High heat. We're going to boil it for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It will boil and steam. And then we'll take it out, and the leaves should be nice and soft, but not falling apart soft. So that's your next step. Get that cabbage ready. This is the hardest part because if the cabbage isn't steamed enough, crunchy leaves. If it's steamed too much, the leaves fall apart. You don't want that. So hardest part, but we're doing it right now. It's time to get the meat mixture ready. The meat, we're just using ground beef. My cousin, my Polish cousin, uses the meatloaf mixture, the ground beef, the veal, and the pork. And she also said sometimes she puts bacon in. I've never done that. We're just using ground beef. And with the ground beef goes onions, and I cheat. I don't cut up my own onions. I buy frozen chopped onions, so it just cuts the workload down. Onions, parsley. I use an egg or two to keep everything together. My cousin doesn't. She said hers just stay together fine, but she uses the fatty meats, so maybe that keeps it together better. Onions, parsley, egg, everything that you would put in sort of in a meatloaf. Rice. White rice is best. I use the brown rice because it's healthier. It takes a little bit longer to cook. White rice is nice and fluffy and they taste really good, but brown rice is fine too. Mix it all together, and then we'll do the rolling of the actual cabbage leaves. So right now we're just going to do the mixture with what I said. Before we move on, I wanted to talk just a little bit about tradition. When the grandkids come, I grill them on why we're doing this, about Lent and 40 days, and how my grandmothers, my mother and my grandmother, both of my grandmothers, would get a great big basket for Easter. And in the basket would go the ham, the kielbasa, horseradish.
Crackers.
In a minute. Let me finish with Sarah. Ham, kielbasa, horseradish, the bitter herbs like at Passover, the boiled eggs. Sometimes, most of the time, the boiled eggs would be colored. Butter, cheese, everything they would have. Oh, and the pasca. Pasca is the bread. Everything goes into the basket. This huge basket. They would have these big old heavy baskets that you had to use 2 hands to carry. And then they would carry all these baskets to church. And the baskets would all be taken to church, and they would sit them on the aisles of the church. They'd sit them all on the aisles of the church, and the priest would come and pray over all the baskets so that on Easter morning they would all have blessed food. And then they'd haul these big old baskets home, and they'd be so heavy. But all the food was blessed. Sometimes they put a palm in it. Oh, and all the ladies would have these beautiful covers over the baskets, embroidered and lace, because they would all show off their beautiful baskets and have these beautiful covers over them. That was their, we're going to show off our handiwork time. And then they bring it home for Easter morning, and everybody would have blessed food on Easter morning. Now, we don't do that today. Some of the churches, the local churches that are still ethnic, do that, but of course out here we just bless it ourselves and off we go. But I wanted to talk a little bit about tradition and why this is important. This is a connection with your past. It's a connection with the people that came before you. It's a connection with your heritage. These are connections that we need in our lives to keep us grounded in who we are and what we are. When my grandparents came to America, they wanted to be Americans, but they also wanted to keep a part of themselves, who they were. And that's what we're trying to do, keep a part of ourselves, who we are and where we came from, and how over the years you just keep moving on, but you take a little bit of the past with you. And then for those of you that don't have traditions, this is my advice. In America, we're everything. My husband is German and Irish and a little bit of Jewish. He's got a whole bunch of stuff. Pick a little bit of who you are, even if it's a little drop of, let's say, German or Irish or Polish, even if it's a little drop, and find out on YouTube about their traditions and go and make traditions for yourself so that you and your family feel connected to the past. And it brings families closer together too. It gives you something in common that you can sit down at the table, and even if your politics don't agree, at least your traditions agree, and you can remember grandmom, and you can talk about great grandmom, and you have a family. So I would suggest that you find a tradition and try it, or make your own. Make your own traditions on Easter morning, when I give the afternoon. On Easter afternoon, when I give the kids their Easter baskets. Years ago, I got them little big coloring books, and every year they color a page in their coloring book, and that's a tradition now, and they love it, and they know that's what's going to happen, and they enjoy it. They look forward to next year for the next page. Make your own traditions if you don't have any, but keep family alive. Now we're going to mix piggies. We've put our ground beef in, and we added some eggs, about 1 egg per pound, and I have about 3.5 pounds here. Like I said, my cousin doesn't do it, but it works for me. Parsley. We're cutting parsley in as much as you like. It's good for you, so go ahead and put it in. Right out of the garden. The organic parsley really smells good when you cut it up. So I like the organic parsleys. And they're not any more expensive, I don't think, than the other parsley. And they do smell better. It smells fresher. My grandmother had her own garden. And when she would put stuff in, you could really smell it. It was really good. And she used to, we'll get to the dill later. But anyway, parsley. Nice and green and nourishing. Onions. Like I said, I cheat on the onions, so I don't have to cut them up. That's how you get Americanized. A little bit here, a little bit there, things change. A little bit of onions. And, salt and pepper. We don't use salt because we're a sodium-free household. We're trying to be healthy. So we don't use salt. If anybody wants salt, they use it at the table, but this is where you would salt and pepper it. And rice. The only difference here is some of us in the family are grain-free. So before I add the rice, we're going to mix this up and take some out for the grain-free people. Then I'll put the rice in and we'll mix the rest. We're just trying to accommodate everybody's needs. So we're going to mix. So Sarah, does the granddaughter want to mix?
All right, I'll mix.
My granddaughter is mixing the rice. I mean the mixture. We didn't mention how much rice to put in the mixture. Rice goes a long way. I would say, I don't know. We just dump some in. If you dump a cup in, you probably dump too much in. And if you dump 1/4 of a cup, you can get away with it. How much rice does your family like? It doesn't matter. And don't forget, the rice is going to puff these babies up so that in the cabbage leaf they're going to expand. So just make yourself happy, whatever your family likes. All right, my granddaughter Sarah is going to show you how to take the leaves off. The core side is up, and she's pulling a leaf off. They're a little soft, but I think they'll be okay. After she pulls a leaf off, there's going to be a heavy spot, a stiff spot where the core was. She's going to take a paring knife and cut that off a little bit. Here, these leaves are a little bit too well done.
Yeah, I can't find where they end.
Go back to the core. Start at the core.
No, you don't start at the core. You start at the edge of the leaf, right?
Well, I think it's easier at the core. That's where it's stiffest.
All right. It's also really hot.
Yeah, it helps to cool it down a little bit. We didn't give it enough time. We can try another head and see if they're any better.
Yeah, I think we might have steamed it too long.
Yeah, I think we steamed it too long this time.
All right, well, I can show this one ripped,
Yeah.
but we can show the core and how to trim it.
Just slice it off.
These are way too soft.
All right, we're going to try another head. That thick, heavy part comes off. Okay. All right, you can see the leaves tearing. That means we cooked it too long. Let's hope the next head is better. All right, Sarah has finally gotten a leaf off. She's cupped it in her hands, and she's going to take a little bit of mixture. And remember, the rice is going to puff it up.
What do you think? Is that good?
And yeah, that's good. Roll it. And the key here is to poke those little edges in. Then put it in your pan. And we will continue.
You guys told me what to do.
It was pretty strict.
These are my grandsons, and this is their first year rolling piggies. All right, Sarah did you take the hard part of the cabbage off?
Yes, the spine.
The spine, all right, take the size of a meatball. Okay, put it in the leaf. Roll it up. Start with the spine end. Okay.
Someone told me how to do.
That's,
Get off!
Okay, all right.
That's it. Roll it up. Then you take the little ends and with your finger push it into the meat. And let's see what you've got when you're finished. Perfect! Perfect! Yay!
Yeah.
Put it in the pan. Next boy,
Alright.
next grandson.
I gotta get a leaf first.
Sarah's going to take the cabbage off. Do you want to do more? Okay.
Really?
Well, you got an eager family here. You gonna do another one, Caleb?
I will do at least one more.
Now you don't when you take the spine off, you leave a little bit. You don't take it all the way down to your hand. You leave a little bit. You just take the really hard part off. All right, Josiah,
I got
cup it in your hand.
I got it.
Take the size of a meatball.
Okay.
Roll it up. And take those ends and tuck them in.
Over here.
Let's see what you've got.
I think I did.
Perfect.
Oh, really?
Very good. Now that we've got them all rolled up, and I have to show you, my granddaughter did a great job. Hers are little and petite, and they're all together nicely. She did a great job. We have two big pots of those. These are the special ones that I did for the people without rice. And here's what you do. You line your pot with the leftover cabbage. Oh, by the way, the cabbage leaves on the top were very thin and they pulled apart easily. But as we worked to the core, the middle ones were perfect, and by the core, they were a little bit hard. So I would say boil your cabbage and steam it for about 20 minutes, but no more. Anyway, you line your pot, you place your little rolled up little bundles in here. Now this, I'm going to cook on top of the stove. My cousin does hers in the oven. So, but either way, I did mine once in the oven, and they boiled all over the place because the meat sent out its juices and the water, and it was horrible. So I do mine on top of the stove. Then your pot looks something like this. If I had another layer, I'd lay it like bricks in between the other ones so that they're all layered. Fill your pot until they're covered with water. So that it looks about like this. It will look about like that. On top of it, you can put tomatoes. You can put tomato soup. My mother used to like to use tomato soup. She said it gives it a little bit of sweetness. You can put, my cousin puts ketchup. She just dumps out ketchup on top of hers and then lets them boil through. I also put on, after I put in my tomatoes, which I use, after I put in the tomatoes, I like to put on dill. My grandmother had a garden, as I said, and she had lots of dill. So on top of the whole thing, I will put little fresh dill, and the flavor will cook through. Then you cook these little babies for hours. I don't know how long, just a long time. Sometimes I leave mine on 4 hours, 5 hours. I just let them cook all day, which is great because if you have people coming and going at your house, they could come in after 3 or 4 hours and just take one out and have it, and you can keep on cooking them. I'll cook them that way. Then for tomorrow, for Easter, I'll line this pan first with the cabbage that's on the bottom, if I can get to it. Then I'll put in the rolled up little Galumkis, and I'll cover it with foil and put them in the oven. And while we're in church, they'll warm up. The only other thing I wanted to mention was, I'm not a great cook, so every once in a while I have a huge mess. If you have a huge mess, you can't get the cabbage off, the leaves are falling apart, make a casserole. You line the pan with cabbage, you put the meat mixture in, then you put more cabbage leaves, then you cover it with the tomato sauce, whichever you've chosen, and the dill, if you want dill, and bake it. So no matter how it works, you're going to have the taste of the piggies, even if they're not rolled up and nice and pretty. Other than that, Christus Voskres. Happy Easter.